Hello everyone, welcome to Full Moon Movies. John Frankenheimer's Ronin is the kind of film that restores the faith in the intelligence of action cinema, sleek, unflinching, and driven by quiet professionalism. Watching it today in 4K, the film feels sharper not just in image but in purpose. This is a world without loyalties where mercenaries trade codes and currencies with equal precision. And the only thing that matters is survival. Robert De Niro's Sam moves through his landscape like a man sculpted in by war, strategies haunted by discipline. There's a chilling calm in the way he surveys a room, studies exits, and dissects a plan. He's not the loud action hero of the late 90s thrillers. Instead, he's the kind who measures every move, the ex-CIA operative who's learned that talk is cheap and survival is earned. De Niro's performance is matched beautifully by John Reno Vincent, who brings the warmth and a touch of soul into his cold world of betrayal. The quiet friendship between the two men becomes the emotional spine of the story, subtle but profound. They never say they trust each other, yet they move like a synchronized team. Reno plays Vincent as a man who's been too long in the gray zones of morality, and is that restraint, that slow reveal of decency under fatigue, that makes the dynamic memorable. Around them orbit characters that defined by their agendas, like Natasha McElhannon as Deirdre, who hires the team for mysterious briefcase job but carries secrets of her own. Stellan Skarsgård's Gregor, the IC technician whose intellectual superiority masks ruthless self-interest, and Sean Bean's rookie Spence, whose bravado lasts just long enough to remind everyone how dangerous incompetence can in a world run by professionals. Now the story is a simple retrieve the briefcase mission that spirals into deception, becomes more of a meditation on loyalty and identity. Frankenheimer keeps the screenplay co-written by David Mamet under a pseudonym pared down to tactical essentials. Every line of dialogue is a clue to character, not exposition. When De Niro says, "Whenever there's any doubt, there is no doubt," it's not just an advice, it is greed. The movie's restraint is its weapons. It trusts the audience to listen, to notice, and to follow without being told. Even the MacGuffins, the briefcase whose contents we never see, becomes a mirror for the character's own emptiness. Everyone's chasing something, but no one knows if it's even worth the blood. Now, what makes Ronin timeless is how Frankenheimer directs the movements. His camera loves precision. The way cars slice through Paris traffic, the rhythm of footsteps echoing in narrow alleys, the tension of eyes meeting in the rearview mirror. The film's car chases are still among the most electrifying ever captured, raw, practical, and dangerous. There's no CGI, no studio polish, just steel, sweat, and thundering sound of engines pulsing against the limit of control. You see no such movies nowadays. Now the sequence through Nice and where De Niro and Reno pursue a convoy remains a masterclass in choreography and editing. One can never make such movies. We always know where we are and how close the danger is, and that clarity makes every swerve meaningful. The later chases through Paris is pure chaos by design. There's a lot of camera vibrations, split-second cuts, and a sense of total immersion. You just don't watch it, in fact you feel your pulse synchronized with the tires. Cinematographer Robert Frazee bathes the film in a cool, silvery palette that makes the France look like a world drained of warmth. The lighting in the 4K remaster reveals the textures along the hidden of older transfers. Cobblestones gleam with rain, reflections on metal surface carry life-like depth, and Frankenheimer's attention to practical light, like the street lamps, headlight reflections, all feels almost documentary in its precision. The new 4K HDR presentation from Kinoloba, sourced from the MGM's 4K restoration, preserves the authenticity beautifully. Now the grain is still intact and cinematic with no digital smoothness. Blacks are deep and stable, especially in the nighttime car sequences, while highlights hold natural contrast without blooming. The French architecture, from quiet cafes to industrial tunnels, now pops with dimensionality. You can almost feel the cold stone of Paris against the lens. The audio is equally striking. The DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 track maintains the integrity of the original mix, emphasizing directionality and texture over volume. The chase sequences thunder with low-end power, but dialogue remains crisp and grounded. Ilya Kmirial's score, mournful brass and minimal percussions, drifts in and out like a ghost, underlying the melancholy of men who's lost purpose. The soundstage now has more spatial realism, when bullets fly through the walls and the echoes feel convincingly three-dimensional. For collectors, the disc also includes a new commentary track featuring film historians and Frankenheimer's archival interviews, plus the original making of featurette that details how real stunts drivers who executed every major chase with minimal camera rigs. It's a reminder of a filmmaking era when practical risks build authenticity, and it shows. Now, I have to really confess that when I was watching the movie, I did not even pick up any phone throughout the entire time. Now, rewatching the Ronin in this format, what emerges most is its tone. Neither pure espionage nor traditional action, but something really colder, lonelier, and strangely honorable. Frankenheimer, a veteran of the Manchurian Candidate and 7 Days in May, knows paranoia better than most directors. Yet here, he doesn't really shoot paranoia as madness. In fact, he shoots it as a professionalism. Every frame has purpose. When the betrayal comes, they feel less shocking than inevitable, because this is a world where loyalty is simply another transaction. Even the violence feels procedural, quick, efficient, and unsentimental. There's no triumph, no slow motion heroism, just the aftermath of choices. Now that's what makes this film endure. It respects intelligence over spectacle, patience over flash. Now, one of the most haunting moments comes near the end when Sam sits in the quiet cafe waiting. The mission is over and maybe it's never really mattered. A radio announces the ceasefire talks in the Northern Ireland, a faint echo of his past, suggesting that perhaps his entire struggle was a metaphor for wars that never end, only change form. Now, Reno's Vincent looks at him with something like understanding, then walks out into the fog. There's no celebration or no closure. They are just men fading back into a world that has no place for them. It's a deeply European ending and poetic in its restraint. When Ronin premiered in 1998, critics praised its realism, but some found its story a bit opaque. Over time, it's aged into one of the defining action thrillers of its decade, respected by filmmakers from Christopher Nolan and Michael Mann. In hindsight, its deliberate pacing really feels refreshing, a film that breathes between bullets. On 4K, that patience becomes even more rewarding, letting you absorb the details that standard editions really softened. The quiet rhythm of Paris traffic, the play of light through smoke, De Niro's slight twitch of doubt before a decisive shot. It's the craftsmanship you can finally see and hear in its intense depth. For collectors and cinephiles, this 4K release is really worth every upgrade. The sleek cover retains a matte finish, giving it a subdued professional tone the film embodies. Subtitles are newly remastered and the disc menu uses the film's instrumental cue subtly looping in the background. Unstated, efficient, and respectful. Extras are also include Ronin, the film in the fast lane, a documentary exploration of Frankenheimer's obsession with authenticity, and an archival interview with De Niro discussing the character approach over stunts. Revisiting Ronin in this pristine presentation, it really feels less like a genre film and more like a statement that intelligent precision and emotional restraint never go out of style. In conclusion, this movie is about a man who operates without nation's codes, without morality, and action without ego. And yet beneath that cold discipline, it defines humanity in the smallest gesture, with a nod, a glance, a shared cigarette after chaos. Now that's the beauty of Ronin, a film that whispers louder than most modern thriller screams. Now this movie is really a must-watch.